Welcome, welcome to Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. And boy, am I thirsty today, because we are going to have one heck of a liquid lunch, as we do every day from noon to 2 Eastern. We're coming to you today from the Newsmax headquarters, high atop Midtown Manhattan, from the Question Tequila Studios. And we are going to be thirsty for some Question later. Kate Herman, the model comedian, will be here to try to fake us out, and hopefully we're wrong and we drink a little tequila. If not, in the meantime, Wayne Allyn Root, former presidential candidate and host of the Wayne Allyn Root Show right here on Newsmax, joins us a little later in the show. And downtown in New York City at the New York Stock Exchange, the Dow is down just a few points marginally, 26,100 and change. Probably be meandering here throughout the end of the summer, unless there's some crazy geopolitical news. Any good news on the tariff front will help us to the upside. And Bitcoin gave up a bunch yesterday, down about 700, holding kind of steady today, down a buck and change. But 10-1, anything above 10 is a good support level. And for emotional support, for comedic support, and for creative support, I'm joined again today, as I always am, my managing editor, Frank Morano.
Thank you, John. It is great to be here.
Yes, it is.
What an exciting time to be on the air at Newsmax, when, if you look at any channel, in any newspaper today, Newsmax is at the center of the media firestorm, and that is precisely what I'll be speaking frankly about. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte is resigning after his right-wing coalition partner decided to yank its support for the populist government. The move comes after the anti-immigration... Oh, okay, that was yesterday's video. You just come right back to me. It's all good. Now, we like to have fun on this show, and there's nobody that there's more opportunity to have fun with than President Trump, and we did it yesterday. We showed the video of Donald Trump looking up towards the sky and saying, "I am the chosen one." And he also proceeded to go on a whole rant about how if you're a voter in the United States who happens to be Jewish and vote Democrat, that you're disloyal to the state of Israel and to the Jewish people. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but whatever. That's the situation. People talk about that. So that led our own Wayne Allyn Root, who you're going to hear from in hopefully just a minute or two, to do a video last night where he called President Trump the King of Israel. And he went on and talked about what a great advocate he's been for not only Israel, but for the Jewish people. Well, there was at least one viewer that got quite a kick out of that, and that was, of all people, Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, and let's put up the tweet if we have it, Donald Trump went out of his way to retweet Wayne Allyn Root's Newsmax video, talks about how he watches Wayne Allyn Root and Newsmax all the time. He's probably watching us right now.
Of course.
And he went on a whole big Wayne Allyn Root rant. Now, whoa! Boy, did that open the floodgates. The front page of today's Daily News refers to, he makes pokes fun at the Last Supper. We're going to try and get a copy of the Daily News, but like most of New York, no one in Midtown is reading the Daily News, so we're having a hard time actually finding a copy. Also, they refer to Wayne Allyn Root on the front page of today's Daily News as a right-wing conspiracy theorist. But it didn't end there. Our very own leader, our CEO, Chris Ruddy, went on Chris Cuomo's show last night, and I tell you, I was absolutely bowled over. Take a look at what happened last night on CNN.
Wow.
Okay.
You were on CNN last night?
No, all right. Okay. All right. So, anyway.
We have Wayne Allyn Root.
Shortly.
Hopefully. And after that, we'll get to all those great videos. But, I mean, we are in the center of the storm right now.
That's right.
So now you know Trump is watching Newsmax.
So Chris Cuomo, or as we lovingly refer to him, Fredo. He invites Chris Ruddy on his program last night, and then proceeds to list every controversial thing Wayne Allyn Root has ever said and put Chris Ruddy in a position to defend it. Now, the thing that amazes me is that Chris Cuomo is demanding that Chris Ruddy be accountable for everything that somebody else has said.
But not him.
But he's not he's not taking any responsibility for the Chris Cuomo rant. So we'll play you this video a little bit later. But I think we have Wayne Allyn Root with us now.
If we have him, let's bring him in.
You got me.
Hey, all right, there he is. Wayne, thanks for joining us today. And,
that's the right-wing conspiracy theorist, Wayne Allyn Root.
There you are, you kingmaker, you.
Hey, listen. Yesterday was a great day because you saw the left-wing media in all their horrible, attributes, the worst of the worst. They don't care about the message. It's weapons of mass distraction. Wayne Root's got a great message. I love Israel. Trump loves Israel. Israel loves Trump. Israelis love Trump. Trump's the greatest president for the Jewish people in history. They're scared to death of that message. They're scared to death of the messenger, Wayne Allyn Root, which is why they had Chris Ruddy on the show, and they're making him defend things he knows nothing about because he doesn't know my past. But they won't allow Wayne Root on the show, which is amazing in America to even believe that they won't face me with those accusations because they want to just paint me as a bad guy to make the message go away. The message is great.
President after president have said they were going to move the embassy, all this other stuff. Trump comes in, bang, done, at like a tenth of the price that all these other administrations, and he stands side by side with Israel time and again. But I'm watching, Wayne, I watch the weapons of mass distraction on the left every morning to get my juices flowing, and I'm watching, I call it Morning Joke. I'm watching Morning Joke this morning.
I saw it.
And their lower third is Trump, King of Israel, in quotes. So they're giving the viewer the impression that by retweeting, he's looked to the sky and claimed he's the Messiah, he's the chosen one, and now he's also the King of Israel. Neither of those things were said by him, but this is what they tell us.
I want to play, Wayne, and I'm going to get you to...
Wait. Let me say one thing and then play whatever you want. Here's the important point. At the end of a long day of the media attacking me, lying and slandering and selective cherry picking of stories about me out of thousands of opinions, let's find 4 of them that we could try and hang Wayne with. At the end of that day, the great news was President Donald Trump sent out a tweet at 10 o'clock or so East Coast time and basically said, hey, guess what, media? Screw you. I'm with Wayne Root. I love his TV show. Here's a clip from his TV show. Thank you, Wayne Root. Beautiful thing to do. The only president in history that would ever stand by and stick with loyally a guy like me because he has no reason to. No president has to get near a supporter. He didn't have to do that. He did it because he's loyal to the people that are loyal to him. And that just proves everything the media has ever said about Donald Trump. He is the greatest guy you will ever meet in politics. Every one of them cuts their losses and walks away if there's any hint of controversy or scandal. Donald Trump took it all in all day and laughed in their face and gave them the middle finger and said, I love Wayne Root. Screw you. Thanks, Donald. Great stuff, Mr. President.
What about some of the conspiracy theories that Chris Cuomo brought up with Chris Ruddy last night? Now, why he feels that this is a fair way to broadcast, where he makes clear that you're not welcome on his show, but he invites the head of our network, defend everything Wayne Allyn Root has ever said that's even mildly controversial. He brought up specifically the birther conspiracy and some of the things that you said related to the Las Vegas massacre.
Ridiculous.
So what's your take on that? What would you say if Chris Cuomo did invite you on after you called him Fredo?
Well, first of all, I'd say I don't think he's in a position to moralize or sermonize me after what we caught him doing off mic no less than, a week and a half ago. He's trying to erase the terrible image of him being a bully and an intimidator and threatening a guy's life, that he'd throw him down the stairs using the F word, and yet he's allowed to sermonize me and lecture me and tell me about morality. That's number one. Number two, it's weapons of mass distraction. Let's get off Wayne's topic, which should be and still is that Trump's great for Israel and Israelis love Trump. Number 3, let's dig up Wayne's background and find everything he's ever said. And instead of arguing about him, I'll give you a couple arguments here. But instead of arguing about it, I'd rather say I do 1,000 opinions a week and 3 hours a day of radio and TV. I talk about 1,000 different controversial issues, and I'm out there raw, shooting from the hip, pedal to the metal, no script, no teleprompter, no notes, no staff. It's just me and the TV camera and the microphone. And I tell you what I think like a real New Yorker, and I got strong opinions. And 99 out of 100 are fantastic. I got a crystal ball like nobody in the history of TV or radio. But every once in a while, 1 out of 100, if you take it out of context and you look at it a year or 2 years later, might sound stupid or ill-advised. Who cares? I don't even remember any of those quotes, to be honest with you. I talk about so many different issues an hour, I don't remember next hour what I talked about last hour. It's a quick shoot for the hip comment. So anyway, to answer your 2, I've never been a birther, even though I could have been. Even though I could have challenged Obama and asked lots of questions, I know nothing about where someone was born, and I know nothing about birth certificates, and I'm not law enforcement. I've never studied a birth certificate. So I decided for the first time in my life to be smart and stay out of the issue. I've never mentioned, that's the only thing in my life I haven't had an opinion on. I've never said on the air, ever, anything about Obama's birth, and yet they're calling me a birther, which just tells you they're guilty of massive fraud and massive slander, and I think I got a $100 million lawsuit against Chris Cuomo and CNN. There never has been a birther issue coming out of my mouth other than one tweet in 2011, 8 years ago, where I said, go get him, Donald Trump. Glad you're asking lots of questions about the President of the United States we need to know. If that makes you a birther, I guess I'm guilty. But other than that, I've never mentioned Obama's birth in my entire life.
Well, Wayne, I echo many of the things you said. We're trying to keep up with you. We're doing 2 hours a day. We're spewing out opinions all day long. No teleprompter. We're trying to keep that Trump message going. And for me, you're an idol because you say it like it is, and that's rare these days on television.
For me, you're an idol because you've actually been able to make money as a gambler.
I want to throw in one more thing. Can you imagine if on the right, and we don't do this, only the left does this, if on the right we decided to record every minute of Rachel Maddow, every minute of Chris Cuomo, every minute of the wrong predictions of Morning Joe, who's wrong about everything.
Absolutely.
Every minute of Don Lemon. And we came back and said, here's 5 things you said in the last 5 years that make you look like an idiot.
Well, let's do it.
Number 1. And number 2.
Let's do it, Wayne.
We should. But can you imagine calling me a conspiracy theorist when every person who's attacking me has spent the last 2 years talking about a Russian conspiracy that never happened?
Right. Well, Wayne Allyn Root.
You got it in your lawsuit against Chris Cuomo. Have the caption say Chris Cuomo, a.k.a. Fredo.
Hey, Wayne, thank you so much for joining us on the top of the show. We're going to keep the message rolling here on Liquid Lunch and, of course, Newsmax TV. Tune in every night to Newsmax to hear everything you need to know from Wayne Allyn Root. Quick break. Right after this, we'll be back.